The night was colder than usual, the kind that seemed to bite through the skin and settle into the bones. He was locking up his small workshop when he heard soft footsteps, hesitant, trembling. When he turned, he saw a young woman standing at the edge of the dim streetlight, her eyes wide with fear, breathing fast as if she had been running for hours. Dirt covered her clothes, her hair was messy, and her hands shook uncontrollably. Before he could say anything, she whispered with a voice so fragile it barely existed in the air, "Please, don't let them find me." Her words hung in the silence like a cry for help that had been trapped inside her for far too long. He froze, stunned by the terror in her voice. She wasn't just scared, she was shattered. He slowly stepped toward her, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "You're safe here," he said gently. But she kept looking over her shoulder, expecting shadows to turn into monsters. He could see how close she was to collapsing. Her knees were trembling, her breathing uneven. When a distant car door slammed somewhere in the night, she flinched violently and covered her ears. He realized this wasn't an ordinary fear, this was someone running for her life, someone whose heart had forgotten how safety felt. When he invited her inside the workshop, she hesitated, torn between trusting a stranger and facing whatever danger was behind her. But her body gave out first. She stumbled, and he caught her before she fell. She was cold, ice cold, as if she had been wandering for hours without rest. He wrapped his jacket around her shoulders, guiding her inside. She kept whispering the same words, almost like a prayer, "Please don't let them find me, please." He closed the door softly, making sure every lock clicked. Only then did she finally stop shaking enough to breathe properly. He brought her a glass of water. She held it with trembling hands, spilling some on her clothes. He didn't ask questions immediately, he could see the panic still swelling in her chest. Instead, he sat across the table, speaking softly, "No one can come in. You're safe with me." The words seemed to reach her, because her shoulders dropped slightly, though her eyes stayed swollen with worry. When she finally looked at him, it was with a mixture of fear and desperate hope. "They were going to take me," she whispered, voice cracking. "I ran, and I didn't know where else to go." His heart clenched. He didn't know who they were, but he didn't need details to understand she had escaped something terrible. He grabbed a blanket and wrapped it gently around her. For the first time, she didn't pull away. She looked so small, so fragile beneath the layers of fear. "Thank you," she whispered. "I didn't think anyone would help me." He gave her a small, reassuring smile and said, "You found the right door. No one is going to hurt you here." She closed her eyes, and for a few seconds, he saw her exhaustion overpower her fear. As she rested, he watched the door and the windows carefully. He didn't know what danger was following her, but he felt a strange protective instinct rising inside him, stronger than anything he had felt in years. She trusted him with her life without even knowing his name. He felt responsible. When she jolted awake from a nightmare, gasping for air, he moved closer and said quietly, "You're safe. I'm right here." She looked at him with tears running down her cheeks, whispering, "Why are you helping me? You don't even know me." He answered without hesitation, "Because someone has to." Hours passed, and she slowly began to open up. Her voice broke with every sentence, but she forced the truth out. She had been trapped in a controlling, violent situation, watched every moment, with no chance to escape, until tonight. She ran without thinking, without a plan, just a desperate need to survive. As she spoke, he realized she wasn't just hiding, she was reclaiming her life inch by inch. Her courage amazed him. Despite everything she had faced, she was still fighting to live. He felt honored she trusted him enough to share her story. He decided not to let her go back into the night. "Stay here tonight," he told her. "I'll keep watch. You won't face this alone." She stared at him, startled by his kindness, then nodded weakly. It had been a long time since anyone had offered her help without wanting something in return. He gave her a small bed in the back room of the workshop. When she lay down, she whispered softly, "Thank you, I've never felt safe like this." He stood at the doorway for a long time, making sure she slept peacefully, something she hadn't done in months. In the morning, she woke up to the smell of warm tea and fresh sunlight streaming into the room. He smiled as she sat up, still a little cautious but visibly calmer. "I made breakfast," he said gently. She blinked, astonished that someone was taking care of her without judgment. As she ate, he noticed the tension leaving her body bit by bit. She wasn't jumping at every sound anymore. Her eyes weren't scanning the room for threats. It was as if she was experiencing normalcy for the first time, and she didn't know how to react. As the days passed, he kept helping her, finding her clean clothes, offering her space to rest, letting her talk whenever she needed to. She smiled for the first time in his presence, a small, hesitant smile that looked like a wounded bird learning to fly again. He realized how badly someone had broken her spirit, but he also realized how strong she truly was. Every day she stayed, she looked a little less afraid, a little more alive. She slowly began trusting him, not because he promised safety, but because he proved it in every small action. One evening, she stepped outside the workshop to watch the sunset. He joined her silently. After a long pause, she said softly, "I used to dream of moments like this, moments where I wasn't scared." He looked at her and said, "You deserve a whole life like this." Her eyes filled with tears, not of fear, but of emotion she couldn't hide. "I don't know why you're helping me," she whispered. He replied, "Because everyone deserves a chance to start over." She turned to him, and for the first time, he saw gratitude replacing her fear. Then came the day she told him she wanted to rebuild her life. "I don't want to hide forever," she said. "I want to be someone strong." He smiled, proud of her courage. He offered her a job in the workshop, something simple that would help her get back on her feet. She accepted it with tears in her eyes. Every day she worked, she grew stronger, more confident. She laughed again, freely, loudly, beautifully. The girl who once whispered in terror now spoke with hope. She was healing, piece by piece, and he felt honored to witness it. She became family to everyone around. People admired her strength, unaware of what she had survived. And he watched her transformation with quiet pride. He had saved her the night she came running to him, but she had saved herself every day afterward. She never forgot how he protected her, how he saw the broken pieces of her heart and held them with care. One evening, she told him, "You didn't just give me shelter, you gave me a life I never thought I would have." He didn't respond with words, just a soft hand on her shoulder, reminding her that she wasn't alone. Their bond deepened with time, not rushed, not forced, simply grown from kindness and trust. She no longer feared footsteps behind her. She no longer looked over her shoulder. She walked with strength. She laughed with joy. And when she looked at him, it wasn't fear or desperation anymore, it was admiration and love. She whispered to him one night, her voice steady and warm, "You didn't just save me. You helped me find myself again." He looked at her, realizing how much she had become a part of his life too. And so, the girl who once whispered, "Please don't let them find me," now stood tall beside the man who had given her safety, hope, and a new beginning. They built a future together, slowly, gently, beautifully. Her past no longer defined her. Her fears no longer controlled her. She had found a home, a life, and someone who cared for her deeply. And he had found someone who reminded him of the power of kindness. In the end, he didn't just give her a place to stay, he gave her a new life, and she filled his with meaning he never expected.